Hello. Hello. Sat Sri Akal. Shalom and salam and namaskar. खुश रहो. हम सिंधी में बोलते हैं जिए सिंध, वो भी बोल दिया. Thank you so much for coming. We are very grateful to you for your beautiful presence. It's your presence that give life to events like this, where we celebrate lives of those who have mattered, not only to us as individuals, as citizens, but have mattered for the life of this society and this country. So, first of all, the first item of business is that I would like to respectfully and gratefully acknowledge that I live on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded lands of the Coquitlam First Nations that lies within the shared traditional territories of Tsleil-Waututh, Katsi, Musqueam, Squamish, Kikwit, and Stalo nations. We are very grateful. We are not the original settler colonials. We were not the ones who unleashed the kind of atrocities that we find ourselves continuously trying to ward off. Even in our contemporary times, the linkage of atrocities has not broken. And we are experiencing, once again, observation of an atrocity and feel helpless about our inability to do anything. However, even keeping the eyes open and keeping the ears open, keeping your hearts open is sufficient in order to somehow cope with the adversities that usually follow those kind of atrocities. Sharma Foundation is a brainchild of a very beloved friend of ours. Beloved to the point where we miss him. Those of us who work with the Sharma Foundation, we miss the fellow who allowed us and gave us this opportunity of getting together once or twice or thrice a year and reflecting on what is going on in our lives, to share what is good and as well as to share what may not be good and how we can struggle to make this at least produce some kind of positive results. Hari bequeathed his real property to this foundation, and this foundation has been serving the community here as well as the South Asian community, or those interested in South Asian stuff or are writing about South Asia, making films about South Asia, making music about South Asia, or photographing and creating art on the subject matters involving South Asia. We have been supporting those endeavors, and we are very happy and we are very grateful to all of you as being, because we believe that every person, South Asian person, or a person who associates themselves or think that they are South Asian, they have a stake in our foundation. And this is your foundation, and we are very grateful that you demonstrate by your presence that kind of ownership of the foundation. We have some friends who are here one of the most important friend who is here. Her name is Avneeta. She is 10 years old. She is exceptionally beautiful. And she is the one who defies authority and reminds us of that principal imperative that we all need to adopt at some point. She was coming with a plate full of pakoras, and her mother asked her for one, and she said to her, "Go get your own." So we would like to begin this evening by expressing our gratitude to Avneeta for not only gracing this occasion, but gracing our lives. She's our collective granddaughter, and we are very grateful that she is here with her mother. And Hari would have been very happy to see her mother here, although I recall Avneeta's mom and myself or Harinder or any other friend who is sitting here, Sadhu Binig, our Imam of Nastic people. Hari had kind of difficulties with all of us. We always, there was at least 50% of us, whenever we would meet at his home, drinking his whiskey, we will, at least 50% of us would not be on a talking terms with Hari. And so it was a kind of a very interesting roller coaster that all of us rode when Brother Hari was there, and we all loved him and respected him. However, as I used to call him a Wahhabi Maoist, which I thought is the name that fits him. But anyways, very grateful to Hari for allowing us to meet here. And that reminds me that Hari left us in 2010. We have with us a child of another comrade who left us in 2017. And his name is Dr. Hassan Nawaz Gardezi, Dr. H.N. Gardezi, who taught sociology like Hari on one of the Eastern universities forever. And they were all colleagues with people like Edward Said, Dr. Feroz Ahmed, Hari Sharma. These were the old guard entities who basically showed us the path. We are grateful to all of them. I'm very grateful to Hari for showing us the path. I'm grateful to Dr. Hassan Gardezi for showing us the path. His daughter, Shaila Gardezi, has graced this evening. Very grateful for that. Grateful to all of you, especially for the Chetna Association, and Jay is here, who has been one of the basic breathers in that entity called Chetna Association. It's very important that we recognize that it was not long ago, 1912, that warrants were issued to arrest some Mr. Hossein Rahim, who had cast a ballot. The prosecution was for casting a ballot, not for not performing the rights of citizen and going and voting, but he was being persecuted because he dared to vote, although he considered himself as a subject of the British Empire, to be a subject of every country that British Empire considered a dominion, and Canada in those days was a dominion. That was before 1982, when we were able to repatriate our basic law to Canada. And now, in this year, we should be very grateful to BC government for declaring and proclaiming month of April as Dalit month, a celebration of their history, commemoration of their martyrs, celebration of their heroes, who are our heroes collectively. And we are very grateful that Jay is here to celebrate this auspicious month with us. Grateful to you, Jay. Now, it's very important to remember the fact that up until 1947-48, and we did not have any right to vote in this province. And currently, I was a couple of months ago, I was in Victoria and I was passing through this parliament grounds, and I looked there and I remembered our beloved brother and friend who unfortunately is not here today, busy people, politicians. And I remembered him, and I thought, wow, that is quite a trek from 48, when we started getting the voting rights in this province, to today, when the Speaker of the House is a Punjabi brother, a comrade, whose claim to fame is organizing BC Farm Workers Union and being a primary instrument in that organization. Can you imagine that? That we have come that far. So we're very, very grateful for that. It's important to remember that. What happens when people lose citizenship, when you have no say in the matter? What happens is what you see in a place like Gaza today, right? That people lose everything because their personhood is not recognized. I would like to take now this opportunity to introduce a beautiful friend of ours, Dr. Kavita Philip. She is from UBC. She was earlier in downtown Vancouver marching around with this protest march, protesting the senseless massacre that is going on in Gaza. I would like to request Sister Kavita to come and read us a poem that was written by a remarkable human being, a teacher, a person who lived in Gaza, but he taught Yiddish language because he wanted to build the bridges between people. He did not want to burn the bridges. He wanted to build the bridges so that people can be together. And this person's name is Dr. Rafat Al-Arir. And for months, since 7th of October, the very tragic events of 7th of October, from that point on, he had been posting information about what is happening in Gaza and things like that. And eventually he was hunted down like an animal and he was killed. His last poem that he wrote is a remarkable poem that tells a story. And I hope we will listen to Sister Kavita tell us that story.
Thank you, Zahid Bhai. And thank you to Harinder ji for asking me and inviting me to read Rafat's poem. For those who don't know Rafat, as Zahid said, he was martyred on December 6, 2023. He was assassinated by the Israelis in the ongoing genocide. But I want to actually focus on his life and the ways in which he witnessed, he bore witness to and lived inside an incredibly violent attack. And I want to think about what he said in 2021 instead of only at the point when he was killed. He lived through another crisis, many crises. In 2021, he wrote a famous opinion piece. It was published in the New York Times. You might have seen it. He was talking about the war in Gaza at that time as well. And he ended that opinion piece by relating a conversation with his then 8-year-old daughter, whose name was Lena. And I'm going to quote just those last words of the opinion piece. He said, "On Tuesday, Lena asked a question again and again after my wife and I didn't answer it. Lena asked, 'Can they destroy our building if the power is out?' And Rafat says, 'I wanted to say, yes, little Lena, Israel can still destroy the beautiful Al-Jawhar building or any of our buildings, even in the darkness. Each of our homes is full of tales and stories that must be told. Our homes annoy the Israeli war machine, mock it, haunt it, even in the darkness. It can't abide their existence. And with American tax dollars and international immunity, Israel presumably will go on destroying our buildings until there's nothing left. But I can't tell Lena any of this, so I lie. No, sweetie, they can't see us in the dark.'" And that was how he ended that. And the idea of seeing in the dark, I think, resonates with what we must do now is bear witness, even though oppression and imperialism and genocide shadow what we see. We must bear witness at the very least. And I'll finish by reading his poem, "If I Must Die." "If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale."
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Sister Kavita, for a beautiful rendition of a very thought-provoking piece. And it's your kindness that resonates. I would like to express, given what you are talking about, one of the leading voices, an independent Jewish voices, it's the group, and Jews for a Just Peace in Palestine, is also that they are quite active, the Jews for Peace. We have a brother Sid Schneid here, and we are very grateful to him for expressing solidarity. We also would like to express gratitude to Brother Harminder Singh Kelly. He is a labor leader. He's, I think, Secretary Treasurer of the BC Federation of Labor. Sharma Foundation has a very special relationship with labor. We had, for years, we supported the labor studies program at Simon Fraser University by creating a scholarship there. We have connection with labor. Without labor, we do not think any emancipation movement would get us anywhere. Labor is a big part of what we do, is a big part of our struggle. We are very grateful to the organized labor in BC, and very grateful to Brother Harminder Singh Kelly for joining us today. I would like to then take So there are some other people that I would like to recognize. However, what we will do as we go by, as we progress through the evening, we keep drinking wine and we will talk about other friends as well. So I would like to at this time request a colleague, a friend, a sister, who I love very much, and most of us love her very much as well. She is one of the pillars of the Sharma Foundation, has been involved with the foundation since the day one, and we are very grateful to her for her dedication in never missing a meeting, always reminding us to pay our annual fees and stuff like that, and she's a tough taskmaster, but a beloved taskmaster. I would like to request Sister Patricia Gruben to introduce the first recipient of the Hari Sharma Award.
I am here to introduce the first of our honorees for the evening, Johal. I first met around 2010, I think, when the School for the Contemporary Arts at SFU moved downtown into the former Woodwards neighborhood in the downtown east side. And because of the history of that neighborhood, and specifically of that block, which had been the home to a whole community of homeless people for several months, we really were aware of the social responsibility that we had, even as a fine arts program in a university, to integrate ourselves and respect and support the neighborhood. So the Vancity Credit Union came through with support for an Office of Community Engagement, which would have a director who would connect with the neighborhood and also be a representative of the school and support cultural and social and other relevant kind of community-based activities in the neighborhood. So was hired for that position, and he's still there. I'm gone, but he's not. He came into that job with a lot of background in community work, and since arriving at SFU, he's established an important link between the arts community, other activists and community groups, and the downtown east side and beyond. He's also been on the board of the Vancouver International Film Festival and Indian Summer, along with the City of Vancouver's Arts and Culture Community, the BC Alliance for Arts and Culture, and many other groups, too numerous to name here. During that time, he's also completed a PhD in Communication and Media Philosophy at the prestigious European Graduate School. He's been teaching courses at SFU. He's written 3 books. Most recently this year, Oh My Friends, There Is No Friend, The Politics of Friendship at the End of Ecology, which I've started reading. It's not too long, and it's really fascinating. I've just reached the point where they say it's okay to be a utopian, which is a little cheering under the circumstances of our present political situation. It's co-written with Matt Hearn and launches a search for a social community beyond political borders and messianic fundamentalism. As they put it in their foreword, how come so many people who write about friendship and community are such assholes? On top of this, I was surprised to find out earlier this year that Anne first came down to Vancouver from Prince George to go to UBC and become a high school basketball coach. That would have been an accomplishment in itself, but he's far surpassed that with all the community building of a different sort that he's been achieving, along with a number of honors, including the Warren Gill Award for Community Impact a few years ago. So, with everything that Am has done, it's fitting that we have a very wordy and thus a very expensive plaque, which written by our esteemed president, Zahid, to present to him, and I think he'll come up and say a few words. So, Am Johal.
There you go.
Thanks so much, Patricia and Saeed, and to everyone at the Sharma Foundation for all the wonderful work you do. I also wanted to acknowledge that I live on the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh peoples. It was a bit of surprise and bewilderment to get an email to come out tonight because, you know, the hours and days and years go by doing this work in our stupor with the kind of world that we live in and the kind of political dead ends we walk in. So it was kind of a moment of reflection. It's an honor to be recognized alongside Harsha and Sadhu Binning as well. I wanted to, and Hari's not somebody who I met very often, maybe in passing, but certainly someone who came with such an amazing reputation. And this sort of leftism in South Asian communities in particular. I grew up in Williams Lake, actually not Prince George, but there were communists in Williams Lake. There was Maoists, there was Leninists, and there was Bengali. There were about 11 of the 200 families, and they would always fight with each other as well, because even though there were 11 communists, there was internecine fighting between them. I also want to recognize my partner, Althea, who has endured 18 years with me of unending meetings, political obligations, board meetings, all sorts of aspects of what it means to do community work. And I wanted to also bring my parents into the room as well. You know, they came here as immigrants. They're both, as many families here, from partition backgrounds. Both the families came originally from Pakistan. My father was born before partition, my mother after. My mother's family comes from Sialkot. My father's family was near Faisalabad, and then, of course, near Jalandhar, Jandiala, and Mathpur. My father worked as a lumber grader in a sawmill for 35 years. He lived previously in Victoria. My mother cleaned hotel rooms at the Sandman Inn, came to the Fraser Valley, worked in the fields like many people did. And for many years, their lives weren't reflected back to them. There wasn't legibility in terms of the racism that they walked into in these small towns. And so though they made a life for themselves, I think that the struggles that they went through and the hardships are much more magnified than anything that we went through in our generation, but it's something that certainly brings and sears into your memory what brings the type of politics that you do and how you try to bring those ideas and ideas of justice forward. And I guess in some sense that part of doing activist work requires a bit of that unhingedness and not belonging and that capacity of rebelliousness to stay with you. And these ideas of tradition and change that we constantly work through, there's traditions that we want to break because they're carrying us in different ways. And also change happens all the time, including capitalism is a certain type of change, but we're trying to bring about different types of repetition here, and that requires a different type of labor. And when I see the faces in this room, you're all doing that work. And when I see what the work the Sharma Foundation is doing, including bringing out activists, having dinners at your homes, like all of that work requires a type of labor that it's really important to recognize. And it's wonderful to be in solidarity with you. And it's a privilege to work at a university in this time, even though our universities have been neoliberalized and have massive issues. There are still places that we can still do good work. Although it's marginalized all the time, it's important that we fight for these spaces to exist and keep open and have aspects of free speech and social justice work that can happen there. It's been wonderful to work at the intersection of art and politics. Art and education has a vital role to play in political life to allow us a fertile place to think beyond the shrinking imagination that is the sickness of our times. And even though there's storm clouds all around us in the near future, we have poetry, we have philosophy, we have the promise of a new horizon. And it's important that we think about love and solidarity in new ways, and we think about new forms of coalition that we can build, including with people that we're not currently in conversation with. And I wanted to just end as a segue, because I know Sadhu is being recognized shortly, but back in 1998, when I was involved with a community program started with a friend of mine, Alison Dunnett, called Humanities 101. We were at 112 West Hastings Street, the old Orr Gallery, and Clint Burnham was teaching in this program as a free English, philosophy, art program for residents in the downtown east side back in 98, but we used an old volume called East of Maine, which was published in the late 80s. And as I was reading through it, there was, a poem by Bud Osborne, poem by others, but of course, one by Sadhu Binning. And it speaks a little bit to the working class history of many of the South Asian communities that came. It's called The Postman, and I wanted to just close by reading that. In the dark, from the mouth of a radio clock, English words hit like a hammer. Half-opened eyes, unstable feet, from toilet to kitchen, dead silence, a cup of tea, a lunch bag, labeled clothes take control of your body, sorting mail for Jacksons, Sandhus, and Wongs, surrounded by people who have learned life's secrets, from Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. Some of these brothers don't want to laugh with you, but at you. They don't even see you. They see an image nailed in their heads by the creators of Donald and Mickey. Letters in your hand, rain on your head. Every dog is a lion in its house. Crooked high stairs, the cats watch you and jump away. Buried under flyers from Sears and Bays. Your back screams, still you watch your steps. And they watch you through their half-open curtains, whites, blacks, Indians, Chinese. Those kept in the house have sharp eyes but limited vision. Some of them see you, somebody, some who goes on strike just to trouble them. You deliver letters that travel from your hand to the garbage pail. What once was a tall and proud tree somewhere, piece by piece delivered to a garbage heap. You start with a handful, end with nothing. 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, and then you count no more. Along the way, your hair changes their color, perhaps to make some white man happy. The rest remains the same to the end, yet piece by piece, you deliver yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Am. He is as remarkable as he has always been. Very grateful to you for everything and for being here and for reading that beautiful poem by one of my leaders. He's the leader of Gnostic people. And Gnostic people are non-believers, right? And he is... that's why I call him Imam of Gnostic people. That's the name that's good for him. But before we say anything about Brother Sadhu, let me express a whole lot of gratitude to my colleagues who are with me on the board of Dr. Sharma Foundation. First of all is Sister Rachana Sharma. She is the vice president currently. the guy who actually makes us all work hard and holds us accountable, and is basically the living light of Hari Sharma Foundation, is Brother Harinder Mahel. We are very grateful to Harinderji for his leadership, for his kindness, for his compassion, for his thoughtfulness, and how he treats us all, especially people like myself who are a little bit on the lazier side. He gets to be the person who will read the Riot Act and activate us to do things. It's wonderful, very grateful to you, Harinderji. We have with us, and that is another person, is Sister Patricia Gruben. She is currently the keeper of the money. She is the treasurer, and she also holds every one of us on board accountable, and provides much needed leadership, for which I'm very grateful to her, because there is no leadership coming from this small guy from Sindh. So we have to look for leadership collectively, and Sister Patricia helps us. We have with us the comrade who's not here today. He's, I think he's on 1 year being a resident scholar at Princeton this year, is Dr. M.V. Ramana. He is currently with Leo Institute at UBC and is the director of that institute. He's one of the leading lights in the area of nuclear politics. He's on board. Brother Sadhu Binning is on the board, and believe me, Sadhu is getting an award tonight, but he did not participate in the selection of awardees this year. So just don't blame him that he voted for himself. He voted for others, but not for himself. We are very grateful for his presence. It's inspirational. It's didactic. It teaches us something, and it's remarkably illuminating. And very grateful to you, Brother Sadhu. We have has been with us since day one, Brother Abi Sharma, a Nepalese comrade, who is a wonderful human being. We all have eaten food cooked by him when he owned Cafe Kathmandu, and Cafe Kathmandu was in its time one of the best places where activists could go and have a good food, even get halal pork, which was a quite remarkable thing, right? The only place where you can get halal pork was Abi's. And we have Sister Samina Siddiqui. She is an old comrade, and we are very grateful that Sister Samina chose to be part of us and engage in this solidarity effort that Hari Sharma Foundation actually is. One of our comrades, our brothers, has been with us since day one. Actually, he's one of the leading lights of progressive, labor-oriented movements in the Lower Mainland and beyond. He is a brother from Sri Lanka, and we are very grateful that he has chosen to be part of this group and help us out. We look at him for guidance. We look at him for inspiration. We look at him for even thoughtfulness and reflection. We are very grateful that Brother Chalia Prem Raja is also a member of our. And the fact is this, Brother Prem Raja, year after year, every year he looks handsomer than a year before. Something is going on there. And he that credits is to Beulah, his beautiful wife, who also goes through the same process. Now, go figure, right? I would like to also express gratitude to a brother who has, who was, I think, the first person here long time ago. I don't know when was that. He was instrumental in helping mount an exhibition of photographs that Hari has taken in India in a Surrey Art Gallery. I'm talking about Brother Jordan Strom. He has been a very, very close comrade, a friend, a brother for a very long time. And we are very thankful to him for everything that he has done on these unceded lands of the Coast Salish and Interior Salish people. He has time and again curated and mounted incredible events at Surrey Art Gallery and exhibits and so on. So we are very grateful that him with his beautiful spouse Daljit is here. We are very grateful to Daljit and Jordan for gracing the occasion with their beautiful presence. I would also like to express gratitude to Sister Donna Sakuta. She is currently Executive Director of a BC Labour Heritage Center. So now you get my drift, that lots of friends who are here are related to labor movement. And you can connect the dots. Don't blame us for that, but to connect the dots and see that our inspiration and our strength comes from the solidarity with labor. And for that, we are very grateful. And we hope that labor would not kind of leave us hanging out there dry, but continue to demonstrate the kind of a solidarity and a friendship and a comradeship that they have hitherto demonstrated. Very thankful to Sister Donna Sakuta for being here. And we must recognize the BC Labour Heritage Centre Society, which is an important repository of labor history in this province, and we need to be cognizant of that. We need to teach our children. We need to teach Avinakas of this world labor history of this province, that your freedoms, your ability to get a proper wage is not something that the liberal politicians woke up one morning and said that, yes, we need to make the minimum wage $15 or $17.90 that is going to be. All of these changes happened because some people put some effort in those. They put their heart in those. They set aside their personal preferences, their comforts, and so on, in order to get for us, for Avinika, the kind of a freedom that we all have a right to. So we are very grateful to BC Labour Heritage Centre for preserving and protecting those items that make us a unique place and make our association and our solidarity with labor an obvious aspect of our being. I would like to really express gratitude to comrades from Committee of Progressive Pakistanis in Canada. We are very grateful for Dr. Saif Khalid, who is here, Mr. Shahzad Nazir Khan, who does this radio program every Saturday. I have not had the privilege of hearing that because it's too early on a Saturday morning and I'm still sleeping. But he does it, and it has a buzz around the community. Everybody loves it. So we are very grateful to Brother Shahzad and Brother Dr. Saif, Brother Hamoud, Brother Hamid, who made these beautiful plaques that you are seeing. They are designed by Hamid, not me. I'm not very good at those things. But he has done a marvelous job, and he charges us less than a market price, which is so beautiful. So we are very grateful to all these comrades from CPPC. Now I would like to take the moment and I'm not going to say anything else. I'm simply going to request Brother Harinder Mahil to come and show us his magic.
Thank you, Zahid. The next honoree that we are going to honor is a very good friend, someone who I respect. I was trying to remember when I first met him. I do recall meeting him in 1975. It may have been even earlier. Sadhu winning, after the poem that was read by Johal, I don't think I need to say much. He is a bilingual teacher, an advocate, an activist, an author, editor, who has lived in Vancouver area since 1967. He, along with his family, moved here that year. His uncle, Tanna Singh, had immigrated to Canada in 1933 and eventually sponsored his brother and his brother's family, which is his brother meaning Sadhu's father. You must have gathered from the poem that read that Sadhu worked in the post office. He was a member of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers. While he was working, he continued his education. He got his Bachelor of Art degree, majoring in anthropology and sociology from SFU. That's where he met Dr. Hari Sharma. He then completed his master's program at SFU, graduating in 1986. During this time, he was part of a number of movements and was very active within the community. He always wanted to work to change society. Initially, he wanted to make sure that there was improvement in the Indian society. As the years went on, he realized that there are problems here. This is our home. This is the society. We need to make sure it's a just society and which accepts everyone as equal. From 1983 to 85, he was an integral part of a theatre group known as Vancouver Sat. This organization produced plays that represented societal issues. They were invited to perform at multiple conferences throughout British Columbia as well outside of British Columbia. The main purpose of the group was to acknowledge there were problems not only in Punjab, where he had come from, where most of us came from, but also here in our home in Canada. For example, they produced a play surrounding Punjabi women that worked on the farms. many Punjabi women who worked on the farms were not aware of their rights. They were not aware that they could unionize, particularly as they had owned their own farms back home. And as a result of the work they were doing, they were extremely exploited. During his resilient career, he had published and edited over 19 poetry, fiction, books, plays, translations, and research books. One of the books that he published, a second edition, Nastik Bani. I brought some copies of it because it was published in India. This is where Zahid talks about that he is the Imam of Gnostics, atheist, which he tells everybody. He's not shy to, he doesn't, I remember, I can talk about this aspect of his life, but there's enough to talk about. His works have been included in more than 50 anthologies, both in Punjabi and English. He edited and co-edited a Punjabi magazine called Watano Dur and Watan. I talked about his work at Vancouver Sat, a theatre collective, Ankur, an English literary magazine. He founded Punjabi Language Education Association, PLE, which encouraged the government of British Columbia and pressured the government of British Columbia to teach Punjabi in some of the schools in British Columbia. As a UBC faculty member from 1987 to 2008 in the Department of Asian Studies, he played a major role in developing the Punjabi language programs curriculum that remains widely used today. He has served on the BC Arts Board, is a central figure in the Punjabi arts community, and was named one of the top 100 South Asians who made a difference in British Columbia. He has received numerous awards in Canada and Punjab, India, including the Supreme Non-Resident Punjabi Author in 2015. Sadhu received an honorary doctorate of letters from UBC in 2019. He's the only man that I know of that when he signs his email, has the words, and I quote, "Humanity can save itself only by becoming socialist." And he's clever enough that he quotes, it's a quote from Professor Rantir Singh, but he believes these words himself, and that's why he has right part of his every email he sends out. It's my pleasure to, on behalf of the foundation, to honor Sadhu for his work and give him this award that I hope that somebody brings it over to me so I can pass it on to him. It's here. I hadn't seen it. It was always sitting here. Come on, Sadhu.
Thank you, Harinder. What an evening already. The occasion of our gathering tonight is to remember April 2nd, 1947. That's the day when our community won back the right to vote here. In 1997, Sukhwant Hundal and myself, we wrote a small booklet, researched that event. And when our people came here at the end of 19th century, 1897 is one date, they were part of the British Empire. India was a colony, Canada was a colony, so they were all British subjects and had the same rights. And many people who came here in the early 20th century were part of the British Army. They fought for the British Empire in a number of different places before getting here. The people here, though, didn't see them as equal. So the white people here saw them as slaves coming from a slave country. And so in 1907, I think it was March 26th, in Victoria, they passed a law and took away that right from Indians. They've already done that to the Chinese and Japanese before that. So from 1907 to April 2nd, 1947, people in the community fought against it continuously. As Zahid mentioned, Hussain Rahim was arrested in 1912, a few years after the law was passed. He broke that law in Vancouver intentionally. And so there was struggle in the early 40s. Darshan Singh Canadian, who was the main player in this struggle during the 40s, he came here in 1937. And he and Nagendra Singh Gill and Dr. Pandya, they, in the early 40s, what was happening before that, they, as things are, the employer would use Chinese, Indians to break the strikes that were, white workers' strikes. So the IWA organized all people, and they involved Darshan Singh Canadian, who was a young fellow who came to study at UBC and became part of the Communist Party here. So he was very active in BC's labor and also in the political circles, especially in the left movement. So they brought, before everybody opposed Indian people's right to vote in the community, including the labor. But with Darshan Singh being part of that organizing, he organized Punjabi, especially Punjabis and Chinese, into the IWA. And there was a big strike in 1943, and they won that strike, and that really changed a lot of things. And what the effect that Darshan Singh Canadian, his contribution is that he brought the trade union movement behind this demand that Indians should have the right to vote. So as a result of this long struggle, 40-year struggle, on April 2nd, 1947, we were given that right back. So that's a day which actually was totally forgotten in the community. And it's only Sharma Foundation, and thanks to Harinder Mahal especially, who have started to remember this day in the last 3-4 years. And I think that's a great thing that we finally, it's probably the most important day. A lot of other, we do a lot of things and should for Kamagata Maru and all the other struggles that we did. But this one especially was totally forgotten. And so I think it's very important that Sharma Foundation is doing this. I guess it's always a great feeling when someone recognizes your work, but it makes it much more enjoyable and meaningful when you're recognized by your friends and colleagues with whom you've spent considerable time doing the kind of work for which you are being recognized. So this evening is especially, for me, very important that I, although Zahid said that I wasn't part of it, and I wasn't, I actually was a bit nervous that it shouldn't be happening like this, but it did. So thank you very much, Sharma Foundation, for doing this. I really do appreciate this. I guess it doesn't matter what time you're living, changes are always happening around you. But what's happening now is mind-boggling in many ways. On the one hand, we are witnessing so many new things happening in science and technology that are giving many reasons to think and dream about a better future for our coming generations. But we are also witnessing strange developments in the world. Wars, genocide is happening right in front of us. People like Modi in India and Trump in the US are presented as leaders of these very powerful countries, and they have so much power in their hands. And they're forcing people almost, in a way to, on the one hand, we are looking to the future, and every day we hear new inventions in science and technology. And yet people are being forced back to 16th and 17th century in their thinking. Especially places like India, even in the US, the reason that Trump is in power because of religious people who support him. They know that he lies, but they don't, really don't care because he's a religious person. The force that is behind these both phenomena is capitalism. Capitalism, money, controls everything. They use religion to control politicians and politics and people. So that's what's happening. So in a way, we people who think about these things and do things, we still have a lot of work to do to sort of make our fellow human beings more rational and transparent thinkers. So we need to do a lot of more work before we can actually, feel sort of more sure about the future. I'm not going to say very much more. I'd like to thank you again for the organizers and giving me the chance. There are a number of people. I mean, I can sort of, so many people that I can name and thank in the hall, but I won't do that. But I want to mention two people. Dr. Sadhu Singh, who was my teacher and taught me a lot of things in life. Sitting with him is Dr. Raghuveer Singh. In the same way, I've learned so much from him. These two people, of course, my son is here, and all my friends are here in the hall. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you. So beautiful listening to you, Brother Sadhu. You are amazing, and very grateful to you for your guidance through the life. I would like to express gratitude to Brother Robert Hornsey. He is currently the living light of BC Coalition Against Racism. And whenever you go to demos like the one that we had today at Art Gallery, in solidarity with people of Gaza, you will find one person with a strikingly beautiful young woman, his spouse Camille, holding this giant banner about fight against racism in British Columbia. Very grateful to you, Brother Robert, for being here. Thank you. Also grateful to Brother Tariq Malik. He is a writer. He has his books there for sale. He thought it's a good opportunity for him to pass out some contraband material, so it's right there. And he promises that each book that he sells, he will give $5 to SANSAD, which is really a poor organization, and they can use that $5. So grateful to you, Brother Tariq, for doing that. Now, it's a time for our Muslim brothers and sisters who are observing Roza, as we call it, we call it Ramzan Sharif, but in Arabic they call it Ramadan, but we call it Ramzan Sharif in Sindh. So there is Ramzan Sharif, and there is some Shahzad is holding some dates. If you really want to open your fast with a date, you apply to him and he'll give you one, I think, if he's in a good mood. Thank you very much. Now we are going to eat. So we will not be saying anything to one another for the next 10-15 minutes. So eat up fast so that we get to the end of the event, which has two different treats for you. You will be listening to one of the most remarkable intellectuals, a young guide for us, Sister Harsha Walia. You will also be listening to two remarkable artists from this area, Shruti Ramani, and I'll get you the other name and I'll introduce you in a minute. So thank you very much. Let's have dinner. Thank you. It was a good dinner and I hope you liked it, especially the dal was out of this world. And I remember two of the very original figures of Sharma Foundation, Dr. Hari Sharma himself and Dr. Chin Banerjee, who became the president and stayed our president until he checked out. And it was two of them who always had one of the point of contention between them was, I make better dal, and the other will say, I make better dal. And then at one point, Chin took a rather interesting communal angle to his dal, and he says that I am Bengali. We are supposed to cook better dal than you guys. So the dal was outstanding. Thank you, Brother Jim, for being so beautiful and so hospitable year after year. Well, now we have come to the last two presentations. For one presentation, I will once again bother my brother and my friend and my comrade leader, Harinder Mahil, to kindly come and invite the entity that is receiving the award. And award is right here, so don't call me.
We started this event about 5 years ago, not only to commemorate winning the right to vote, and also to recognize some people in the community who have, in our eyes, made significant contribution. And last year, when we were discussing the nominations, someone suggested that we should also look at organizations. That's where Chetna Association of Canada was the first of the organization to be recognized. So this year, we did the same thing, 3 individuals and an organization. And I'm here to speak about an organization with which I have been associated with for many years, that South Asian Network for Secularism and Democracy, also known as SANSAD. It is an organization of South Asian diaspora based in British Columbia. It comprises people with origin in Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. The founding of SANSAD goes back to 1992, when the destruction of the 16th century Babri Masjid in Ayodhya sparked outrage in India and around the world. This event was a major turning point in India's politics. Now, some of you will be surprised to know that this took place not when BJP was in power, but when Congress party was in power. Soon after this masjid was demolished, Dr. Hari Sharma and Dr. Chin Banerjee called a meeting to discuss the event. They saw it as a major attack on freedom of religion in India and an extremely serious threat to the principle of democracy and secularism. An organization called Non-Resident Indians for Secularism and Democracy, NRISAD, was founded at the meeting. This organization started its work by buying a full-page ad on the front page of Times of India, condemning the demolition of the masjid and termed as an attack on the composite culture of India. Nirishad continued to function between 1992 and 1995. During this period, the organization issued several statements expressing concern of the deterioration of democracy and secularism in India. Sometime during this period, several South Asians who had come to Canada from Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka expressed their desire to work with the organization, but pointed out that NIRSAD worked exclusively with non-resident Indians. So at that point, founders and the board members, particularly based in Vancouver, agreed to establish SANSAD. Since then, the mission of SANSAD has been to develop a secular, democratic South Asian diaspora in Canada. SANSAD's goal is to create a secular democratic force within the South Asian diaspora through education and engagement in the struggle for peace, social justice, human rights, democratic rights, and a sustainable world. Its concerns embrace our homelands, our adopted land, and other lands where people share our interests. Dr. Sharma was the founding president of both NIRSAD and SANSAD. After 2010, Professor Chin Banerjee took over the leadership. Both led the development to NIRSAD into SANSAD to embrace the need of going beyond the focus on India to the whole of South Asia region with stated goals to help promote peace and democracy based on secularism, human rights, social justice, all the while building bridges with the First Nations people of Canada and workers in their just struggles in Canada and elsewhere in the global South. SANSAD has been pursuing these goals vigorously in almost 30 years of activism through countless educational meetings, seminars, talks, sponsoring events, participating in solidarity rallies, and by issuing statements on Gujarat pogrom in 2002, human rights of the people of Kashmir, promoting peace between India and Pakistan, standing against violence against journalists, academics in Bangladesh, defending human rights of Tamils in Sri Lanka are just few examples. I will call on Prabjot Parmar, who is the president of SANSAD, and Prem Raja to come and accept this award and to speak a bit more about SANSAD from your perspective. Prabjot and Prem Raja.
First of all, I would like to acknowledge the land from where I have come. That is the land of people of the river, Stalo people. Their language is Halkemelim, and their greeting is Aswell. So just like one says good day, good evening, and so on. So Aswell to all of you. And I would also like to acknowledge the land of Sumac Nation, of Stalo Nation, where I live and work and volunteer and try to be a decent human being. I am, but I still try to be. On behalf of SANSAD, I thank Sharma Foundation from the bottom of my heart, of course, personally, but I'm speaking for a group here that you have recognized SANSAD. I'm more of a spontaneous person. I wrote something which I lost, and then I found just now, as Harinder ji was speaking, I said, let me check, I may have something when I introduced a speaker or something, so I found. But I want to share a couplet with you that just comes to my mind. मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल, मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल, लोग आते गए कारवां बढ़ता गया या कारवां बनता गया. Majru Sultanpuri, famous poet and film lyricist, he wrote this, and it translates as I had set foot on my path to destination by myself. People kept joining and it became a caravan. So that's how I see SANSAD. That what Harinder ji mentioned, that Dr. Hari Sharma and others gathered to create this group of people to speak against oppression, they all came together, and large at times, very large, and at times very small, the group has continued to function. And it has stood to uphold values of democracy, values of individual human rights of any group, every group. And whenever there was an opportunity to raise their voice, they came out to the streets, whether it was prenatal sex determination. This was somewhere in, I think, 92, 93. I hadn't even reached Canada at that time, but I remember when I joined SANSAD, I learned about it. Supporting India Mahila Association and other groups who protested here against that, which our community still, I see those ads in Indian newspapers, Punjabi newspapers, even now. So something like that, or Babri Masjid, or any kind of communal violence. Then also standing shoulder to shoulder with our sister organizations, whether it was being friends with the people from the Philippines, or it is being friends of people from Palestine, or from Sri Lanka, or from Nepal, South Asia, of course, on a broader level, but from many other countries. SANSAD played a key role in generating awareness and showing solidarity. I don't want to take too much of time. I don't know how much time we have here. It's 8:49, so Zahid bhai, you can give me an ishara and I'll accordingly wrap up. I was in third or fourth grade when my class teacher, first to fifth, we had the same class teacher, and Mrs. Keith, she was from a Sikh family, and in the report card, in December we used to get it, and then in the end of April. And ma'am had written blah, blah, very good, this, that, and the other. And at the end, she had written, she's a chatterbox. So, for a chatterbox to be given a microphone, it's like pig being in thick shit. So, I don't want you to be subjected to endless chatter, of course. I'll read a little bit, and I want to sort of say certain things, and I don't want to miss those out. Now, SANSAD's goal is to develop a secular, democratic South Asian diaspora through education and engagement. Our concerns embrace our homelands, our adopted land, and other lands where people share our interests. This sounds much better than what I was saying, I think. Together with a combination of long-term and new associates, SANSAD is well-rooted in its commitment to social justice, human rights, and secular and democratic South Asia and its diaspora in Canada and elsewhere. It will continue the work begun by the founding members, the exemplary Doctors Hari Sharma and Chin Banerjee, fondly remembered as Hari Bhai and Chin Bhai. Here I take a moment, and if you could, I'll take the names, and afterwards a big collective applause from all of you. Prem Bhai, Harinder ji, Sadhu ji, Zahid Bhai, Obi Ghamire, who are not, Obi is in Nepal at the moment, I think, who have been so very involved with SANSAD's work. Then other elders who are here, who have been involved with SANSAD and may have worked with SANSAD. I may not remember your names, but my salute to you. So all of you, if you could join me, please, in applauding all the people who have contributed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. SANSAD, as I mentioned, sister organizations, one particular organization that Hari Sharma Foundation recognized last year, Chetna, I would like to acknowledge them as well, because when I joined in 1996, all of us used to sit together at Hari Sharma's house, and as Zahid Bhai so rightly said, that we had our disagreements and heated arguments with Hari Bhai, and some of us had the guts to, speak the counter narrative when Hari Bhai used to speak. Everyone otherwise did not have that. Nevertheless, in that atmosphere and those gatherings, I was introduced to friends, colleagues from Chetna, and found another family there. And Chetna has emerged as a key organization representing and speaking for Dalit issues. And all of us who are sitting here are, I'm sure most, if not all, I should be attentive to absolutes. Most of us, if not all of us, are very much aware of Chetna, but I wanted to show appreciation that how, with support from each other, so much can be achieved. So, shabash. So in any volunteer board, it is important to ensure that all members work towards a common goal, in our case, to uphold the mission and vision of SANSAD. I thank my fellow board members, Samina Siddiqui, Baljeet here. Baljeet is there. Baljeet, zara haath uthana, taaki nazar aa jaye sabnu kaun hai Baljeet. So Baljeet, Samina Siddiqui could not be here, she is away. Sejal Lal, Imtiaz Popat, and myself, and then our friend, philosopher, guide and mentor Harinder ji, who's always there for us, and Prem Bhai. Please, one special big applause for Prem Bhai. He is always there at rallies in downtown or wherever they are held. So big applause for him. And Zahid Bhai had said that Tariq ji will give those $5 to SANSAD, and SANSAD is a poor organization. Economically, yes, but otherwise it's a very rich and wealthy organization. So those $5 will be very welcome, and those of you who are sitting here, I'm sure you are members of Hari Sharma Foundation. All voluntary organizations rely on our own goodwill and our own pockets. We don't go out seeking money from other than our good friends here and few others who are not here. So those will be $20 well spent. So thank you so much, Hari Sharma Foundation, and thank you to all of you for your kindness. Thank you. Thank you, Zahid Bhai.
Thank you so much, Prabjot ji. You're so kind and so thoughtful. One of the things that happens, I think one of the things that happened with how we transitioned from Nirisat to SANSAD was infusion of fresher blood in our structure. And that infusion involved lots of young people from this area. And those young people, to us, was young, enthusiastic comrades and sisters and brothers, and we love them. But more than anything else, they some of them turn out to be significant leaders of significant heft and integrity and wisdom and compassion. And we are very grateful to them. And we need to cultivate amidst us a culture of honoring the young people. One of the young women I heard speak last year, debate one of my most favorite young person of all time, Harsha, was this young woman named Anjali Apadirai. And we are very grateful to her that she has graced this occasion by being here. I'm talking about Anjali Apadirai. And I think this is the kind of association that we need to celebrate and further cultivate so that we can learn from this new generation of leaders. So, Anjali ji, thank you very much for... Another important landmark to remember that currently Sharma Foundation is also engaged in a very significant relationship and association and comradeship with the BC Labour Heritage Centre. And we are very, very grateful to be allowed to be participate in that endeavor, which Donna Sakura and her handsome hubby sitting somewhere. Her hubby is Brian Gardner here. So they have spearheaded this remarkable project, and we are very grateful to be in collaboration with them. So the last speaker and the last awardee of tonight is going to be announced by, who was supposed to announce that? Okay, I will say just a few words about this next person. First of all, she is the kind of a person who won't need any introduction, especially from a nobody like myself. She is a live wire. I had always, whenever I had a conversation with Hari, and when we are speaking to with one another, I always refer to her as a live wire. And he would say that, well, she lacks that discipline, the communist discipline that we have. And I said that doesn't matter. When you are a live wire, you don't need a discipline. And we used to have those conversations about her, and she always came in with her best friend of life, Harsha, who is sitting here, and we are very thankful that he's here. And together, these two people, young and with very little resources, they were able to mobilize downtown East Side community, created a homeless people's network, created a network of women who were abused, our First Nations people who were living in a squalor. And these are the two individuals because of whom we saw so much of organization happening in downtown East Side. They are the ones who brought hope to that community. She then goes on to organize what is called No One is Illegal. I mean, just consider the depth of that one line, no one is illegal. Whereas we know that people, that Hussein Rahim in 2012 or 1912 or 1904, he was put in prison because he was deemed illegal. How can you deem a human being illegal? A human is a human is a human, right? Once you start not seeing a human person human, you'll see them as illegal. And this is the person who created, perhaps with her full dedication and integrity, this No One is Illegal organization, which is now currently all over North America. And she then goes on to write a book explaining that reason why it is called No One is Illegal, when she talked about the notion of imperialism, when she talked about the notion of colonialism. And she's the person who has taught us. And a person like me feels extremely grateful to a wise person like Harsha, who has come up to give us so much, despite the fact that she is raising a young family and raising a rebel, Avnika, who is here. It's quite amazing that Harsha has chosen to accept this humble offering from Sharma Foundation. And Harshaji, if you kindly approach, then I'll give you your plaque, but I have to go back there.
That was too bad.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, yeah. Wow. How's everyone doing? Good? It's good to see everybody. Hi. Oh, it's bright up here. It is bright. Thank you all. Thank you all for sharing time here today. It's so humbling to be up here. Thank you to the Sharma Foundation for this incredible honor, and also for gathering us every year. It means so very much to be here amongst all of you. And as others have said, just the nostalgia of being here, thinking about Hari Bhai, thinking about Chinda, to be here with Zahid Bhai, with Jay, with Shahzad, with Prem, with Sadhu Bhai, and so many others means so very much. And I think this was said earlier about all of the gatherings at Hari Bhai's place. And I'm not surprised that I would be described as a live wire. Hari Bhai and I had many disagreements, as many of us did. But one of the things that I want to extend my deep appreciation for this community, for the SANSAD community, for what is now the Hari Sharma Foundation community, is, as somebody who entered into this organizing younger, the ability to debate and be in disagreement without ever being patronized has been something that has stuck with me. And I deeply appreciate that, to have been able to sit in a table full of uncles and talk about the patriarchy, and then to be called a live wire. It was all part of the course. But, to be able to do it with respect and integrity and openness completely changed the course of my life, changed the course of my political life, and for that I am so deeply grateful. And I remember a time actually when Hari Bhai and I had a huge disagreement about something that we were organizing, a blockade up in some Peaks territory. And Hari Bhai and I probably debated about it for a good 6 months. And then he showed up at 6 a.m. and got on the bus to come up with us. And he said, well, we've been debating this for 6 months, so I have to see for myself. There must be a reason that you're going up there to be part of this blockade. And so those are the kinds of moments, the openness, the ability to exchange, the ability to debate, the ability to be in this community with that kind of integrity, I think has made all of us better. And so this is my long-winded, equally chatterbox way of saying that I'm so deeply grateful for the ways in which I have grown up in this community, and it's an honor to be recognized alongside Am. We've known each other for decades, and Sadhu Bhai, who actually helped name my daughter. He helped us come up with the name. So this community means a lot. And we're gathered here, as we know, on Musqueam. Well, I'm on Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish territories. That's where I live, also on the Hokominiam-speaking people's lands. And, we are, as we all know, in a time where land back means so much, whether we're talking about land back here on the Salish Seas, whether we're talking about land back in Palestine and Palestine. We're talking about settler colonial regimes all around the world that are trying to decimate people's land, destroy people's livelihood, and commit outright genocide, as has been said, that we're witnessing every single day in real time. Thank you for reading out Rifat's poem. He was a comrade of mine. We shared a publisher. We shared a lot of conversations together. And one of the things that he always talked about when he talked about Palestine is, don't think about Palestine as a place that needs our sympathy, but a place that needs our presence, that needs our active resistance. And so even as we're bearing witness, I want to stand here and extend for myself, and I hope this is something that we collectively share, is our unconditional support for the Palestinian people, for the Palestinian struggle, for Palestinian liberation, and also for Palestinian resistance, right? Palestinian people don't need our sympathy. They need us to be part of the resistance movement, and that is true for land-back struggles everywhere. People need us to be present. And one of the things that I'm reminded of today that we've been talking about is, how much of our legacy and histories as diverse South Asian people on these lands comes from struggle. It comes from struggle in the labor movement, whether that's the farm workers movement and beyond, whether that's the defiance and the struggle to regain the right to vote, whether it is the struggle of South Asian feminists on these territories, whether it is the ongoing struggle of caste-oppressed and Dalit people within our communities, whether it is the ongoing struggle against Hindutva forces that migrate, that are here also, right? That's not just an over there problem. Hindutva dollars, we know, finance Hindutva all around the world. These are part of an ongoing legacy of struggle. And labor struggles are not over, right? We know that on our farms that many Punjabi owners own are Caribbean and Mexican and Latin American workers. We know that amongst us every day are international students and undocumented workers who continue to struggle. And so part of our responsibility as people who are beneficiaries of struggle, of those who came before us, is to continue that legacy of struggle. And so, Am, when you were talking about how so many of us envision the promise of the new dawn, for me, the promise of the new dawn comes from our collective commitment to organizing. And that is what this community has been doing for decades. Those of us who are younger, I hope, can commit to continuing that legacy of organizing. And I would just end with Haribai's invocation of Lal Salam. Lal Salam until victory. Lal Salam, Inqilab Zindabad.
Thank you so much. Well, of course, Inqilab Zindabad. I now know that Harsha was to be introduced by Brother Prem Raja. But now it's over. If you have something prepared and that must be laid out, then come along. Otherwise, we are going to move on with the program. I apologize. Okay. Thank you for doing that.
It's an opportunity to thank Harsha, particularly when MV Sansad ship came and landed along the shores of Vancouver Island, and they were refugees from Sri Lanka. So that's one of the points I wanted to mention if I had the opportunity to introduce her. And what happened, and the refugees were kept in detention, including women and children. And Harsha is one of the organizers, stood outside the detention center in Burnaby with the Tamil music and shouting for their freedom. Why the women and young children have to be detained in this democratic country of Canada, which accepted refugees and asylum seekers, even today. And these were the actions which Harsha demonstrated that sort of reminds us repeatedly, as long as when I see that Tamil community, and today I am proud to say some of those children are in the universities in the lower mainland today. So these are the work done by Harsha that we shall be ever so proud and thankful. Not only that, the First Nations March and the Women's March in downtown Eastside. And our president of SANSAD said, yes, when I am free, I used to join them, I used to go. And there we can see to what extent the indigenous rights is expressed in solidarity with them. And with those, we are ever so grateful for Harsha and for her leadership. And we shall be ever thankful. And thank you, Harsha. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Prem Raja. Very grateful to you. Now we have to move on to the last part of our program this year. Once again, grateful to all of you. Please, when you are going home, just remember, if you have imbibed the nice wine curated by Brother Lumber Singh, who is not here, but very grateful to Brother Lumber for doing that. And please be careful. Do not drink and drive. Do not get in trouble. It's not worth it. We are very grateful to Sister Patricia Gruben, who very kindly has put together this part of the program that is a musical program, and I would like to request Sister Patricia to come and introduce to us Shruti Ramani and Noah Franch Nolan. They are musicians, and this is our tradition every year when we meet for this awards night. We have a musical program as well. We are trying to beat the Academy Award people. So here you go, Sister Patricia.
I'm going to be very brief because I really want to hear the music. I became aware of Shruti Ramani's music just recently because the Sharma Foundation gave a small grant to the jazz festival that's upcoming, and she is going to be with the band Ragaverse, which includes Noah Franch Nolan, who's also here tonight. They're going to be performing at the jazz festival, I think in an outdoor event, perhaps, in June. So Shruti studied, I think, classical Hindustani music in Mumbai and then came here to further her studies in jazz. And so I'm just going to stop there because I really want to hear them play, and we've had a lot of speeches. So stay for this.
Hello, check. Ooh, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, thank you so much to the Sharma Foundation for having me and Patricia for putting my name through. I am really inspired to have heard a lot of you talk. I've newly moved from India just to pursue music, and I feel like I'm feeling a little bit more at home in this room than I have in the last few years. So I'm grateful to all of you for that. With no further ado, I think we will get right into the music. Some of the music we're going to play for you tonight comes from Hindustani classical tradition, but it also has jazz or Black American tradition. So it's two very rich people of color music that come together in raga versus soundscape to create something. And it's quite aligned with all the things we've talked about in celebrating South Asian culture, celebrating people of color music, and holding the space for those things to blossom and the artists to blossom. So thank you for having me and giving me this space to share this music with you tonight. The first tune we're going to play is called Sajan. Ga ma ma ga ga ni sa ga ma pa ni pa pa ni sa ga ma ga sa ni ni pa ma ga ma pa ni sa ni pa ma ga ma pa ni sa ni pa ma ga ma pa ni sa ni pa ma ga ga sa ni pa ma ga ga sa ni pa ma ga ma ga ni ga sa ga ni sa ma ga साजन मोरे घर आए मोरे घर आए साजन मोरे घर आए साजन मोरे घर आए साजन मोरे घर आए साजन मोरे घर आए प्रेम पिया हम पाए प्रेम पिया हम पाए प्रेम पिया हम पाए प्रेम पिया हम पाए साजन मोरे घर आए साजन मोरे घर आए मंगल गाओ चौक पुराओ मागा gama pa maga sa gama pa maga ni pa ni sa ga sa sa ni sa gama pa pa ma 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 pa 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 ma 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 pa 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 ma ni 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 ma ni 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 pa ni 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 ma ni 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 pa ni 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 ma ni 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 pa sa 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 ma ni 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 pa sa 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 ma pa ni sa pa ni ma pa ga ma pa ni sa ga sa ni ni pa pa ma ma ga ga sa sa ni ni pa pa ma ma ga sa 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 ni ni pa 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 ma 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 ga 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 sa 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 ni ni sa sa ni sa ni pa pa ma ga sa ga ma pa ni pa sa ga ma pa ni pa sa ga ma pa ni sa ni pa sa ga ma pa ni 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 ma ni ni pa ni ni ma ni ni pa sa sa pa ni ni ma ni ni pa sa sa ni ga ga sa ga ma ga sa ni pa ma ga ni sa ga ma pa sa ga ma pa ni ni sa ga ma pa sa ga ma pa ni ni pa sa sa pa ni pa ni sa ga sa pa ni sa ga sa sa pa ni sa ga sa sa pa ni sa ga sa sa pa ni sa ga ma ga ga sa sa ni ni pa pa ma ma ga sa ma ga sa sa ni pa pa ma ma ga mama ga sa sa ni ni pa pa mama ga sa sa ni ni pa pa mama ga ma ga sa ma ga ga sa yeah. मंगल गाओ चौक पुराओ मंगल गाओ चौक पुराओ प्रेम पिया हम पाए प्रेम पिया हम पाए साजन मोरे घर आए साजन मोरे घर आए साजन मोरे घर आए साजन मोरे घर मोरे घर आए Thank you. Yeah, it really does feel. We play as a band all the time. The crowd is usually doesn't look like you all. Yeah, it's predominantly an Eldo, a white community, and we are grateful for that. But there is a sense of appreciation and a feeling of home when we play to our people. And Noah, as an extension, is part of us because he plays in this band. And that one was called Sajan. There's 2 other members in our band that complete our band, and we're called Raghavers. If you like this kind of music, you could go check it out. Tell your South Asian friends in particular. That's what I'm invested in. Yeah, we'll play a popular tune that I don't usually play. Well, it's on the album as well. It's a Bollywood tune, and I don't know if a lot of you watch Bollywood movies, but if you do, you may know it. It's called Khabo Ke Parinde. It's from the movie Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara with Hrithik Roshan, Katrina Kaif, and all those people. Abhay Deol. I'm forgetting someone. Irfan Khan? No, that's a cricketer. Never mind. This one's Khabo Ke Parinde. One, two. उड़े खुले आसमां में ख्वाबों के परिंदे उड़े दिल के जहां में ख्वाबों के परिंदे ओ हो क्या पता जाएंगे कहाँ खुले हैं जो पल कहीं नजर लगता है अब है जागे हम फिक्रे जो थी पीछे रह गई निकले उनसे आगे हम हवा में बह रही है जिंदगी ये हमसे कह रही है जिंदगी ओ हो अब तो जो भी हो सो हो उड़े खुले आसमां में ख्वाबों के परिंदे उड़े दिल के जहां में ख्वाबों के परिंदे हो क्या पता जाएंगे कहाँ किसी ने छुआ तो ये हुआ फिरते हैं महके हम कोई है कहीं बातें नहीं जब है ऐसे बहके हम हुआ है यूं कि दिल पिघल गए बस एक पल में हम बदल गए हो अब तो जो भी हो सो जो भी हो जो भी हो जो भी हो जो भी हो सो all right, that's to bring some nostalgia. It's not that old though. I turned myself off. I should have sung something like Lag Ja Gale by Lata Mangeshkar or something. I think that would have been the vibe. This next one is again inspired by Indian classical, going back to raga versus sound and music, celebrating an ancient tradition, Hindustani music, that has been around for thousands of years. And even in Western music now, there's a lot of appreciation for Indian classical musicians because of the versatility, the kind of things that they can do. So this is a tune called Naina. Naina was written by my teacher and I together. More Naina matware, sunat nahi more jiya ki. And the song is about stealing glances at someone that you're infatuated by. But you can't stop, you can't avert your gaze, you can't help but look at them. So this is a playful bandish that is now turned into this piece, Naina. Naina, 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 more Naina, matware, more Naina, matware, more Naina, matware, sunat nahi more jiya ki more Naina matware jab se unko daras bhayo hai jab se unko daras bhayo hai bhatke jaise bhavara pavare bhai sudh mein jiya ki more मतवारे मोरे नैना मतवारे सुनत नाही मोरे जिया की मोरे नैना मोरे नैना मोरे नैना नैना मतवारे मोरे नैना मतवारे मोरे नैना मतवारे सुनत नाही मोरे जिया की मोरे नैना मतवारे जब से उनको तरस भयो है जब से उनको तरस भयो है फट के जैसे फवारा पावरे भाई सुध में जिया की मोरे नैना मतवारे मोरे नैना मतवारे सुनत नाही मोरे जिया की मोरे नैना 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 I don't want to hold anyone here for way too long, but that's a little celebration, probably a good way to end such a meaningful gathering with such meaningful community and people that come together to do such great things. I'm honored to be able to close the night with some music, that purity that kind of takes us away for a moment from all these things that we have to think about on a daily basis. Race, and social issues. And music is a big part of it. Music actively is bringing change, part of change. So thank you for, holding the space, listening to us tonight, and gathering here. Have a great night. Signing off.
Well, thank you very much, Shruti and Nova. And thank you very much for coming. Very grateful to you. Have a wonderful evening. Have a safe drive home. Thank you. Good night.